Hello, 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 and welcome back to another episode of Nothing Zilch Nada, where we have 2 separate weeks, same clothes, same area.
We time travel.
No, it's just been that rough of a week that we just decided to not change our clothes.
No, the real reason we're doing this is just because both of us got things coming up this coming week of November, because Saturday I'm gonna be busy, and
then Sunday I've got a big disc golf tournament.
Yeah, so we decided to record 2 episodes so that way you won't miss out on our weekly uploads.
Yep. So, but with that, I'm Xavier Dean.
And I'm Jacob Green.
Alright, welcome to Nothing Zilch Nada. So this topic is mine, and for my topic, as you all know, I did cut my hair, and I donated it to a non-profit organization called Wigs for Kids. That idea, the whole donating hair idea, has been on my bucket list for a couple years now. And so I've decided, for our topic today, Jake, you and I are going to create our own bucket list.
Okay. What are some of the rules?
So I would say the biggest rule, do not do anything that you are already planning on doing.
Already.
Not like planning, like the key stuff that you know you want to happen. Like, no buying a house, getting married, having a kid. None of the generic stuff.
Ouch.
Well, if that's already in your cards, it's better not to focus on that because you're already in your mind or thinking about it. Instead, have things that you can go through the day and just completely not think about until you look at something. Another thing is, let's try and make it something that is a little harder to do based on certain situations. Nothing impossible. But like, let's say we shouldn't be, I would say most running things, and I am saying most, not all, but like most running things, like certain 5Ks or certain 10Ks, probably should leave those out, just because, you know, those are things that we can easily accomplish. Those are things we can easily do. It doesn't take a lot of time, doesn't take a lot of effort. Anything more than that, we can do.
Okay. Alrighty. Also, for time's sake, because we took so long recording our previous episode, we're keeping it at 5 entries for this one.
Yes, we are.
I think we've come to realize that we have a lot more to say about each entry in more detail. So 5 is a good compromise number.
Yep. Yes, it is. Well, I think we can do 10. We just have to have more clip notes of what we're going to say rather than actually saying everything.
Yeah.
So.
Alrighty.
And we are doing this in real time. That way you know that it's not just us, you know, oh, we've had this prepared for a week. No, I came up with this morning while I was doing dishes. The dishes part is important. So,
okay.
All right. I've got my first one up. Do you have yours?
I do.
All right. You want to say your first one?
Yes. So, as many of you know, I am a musician, primarily a saxophonist. And one of the things that I keep trying to do is add new horns to my collection.
He wants to be pretty horny.
Okay, I'm actually going to give you that one. That's actually pretty good. Oh my gosh. Besides that, I just really love the saxophone. Of course, it's my instrument, my very first one that I played. I primarily play the alto though, and I bought my very first professional horn on my own with my own money in high school. And I've been using that horn for 7 years now. So, and while I currently have other instruments like a flute and a clarinet, they're not professional level instruments. They're still decent quality instruments. But I also have a tenor that's unbranded, that's like a beginner level, but the build quality is so poor on it. So what I really want to do is I want to buy more saxophones, but specifically ones that I don't own and ones that are at good playing condition. And those horns include mainly I want to get new tenor and a soprano. And if I have more money in the future, I will get the baritone. And of course, it's hard right now because I'm still in school, so I'm paying for school. I also have an apartment, and I'm constantly paying for like groceries and gas and just some of my living expenses that go along with it. And while I do buy gears specifically tailored to my needs, like reeds as an example, those are easy to buy compared to buying a horn, which could cost you up to like 500 to 10 grand. And finding a good quality horn isn't always an easy thing to come by. And now, the other thing besides buying it at a price that's affordable to you is also just like getting to try the horn yourself, because you might be like, well, Jake, you could just order stuff online. You can do that. The problem is that like if your horn has some faults with the design, or stuff that's straight up broken, which can happen sometimes, it has happened, not to me but to other people, you have to ship it back, and usually you don't get that return of your money back. So I rather go to a music shop with instruments, to try it out before I buy it. That's what I did with my first horn that I bought. That's what I did for the tenor that I bought. So, and the tenor that I have, it's fine because like I have a good mouthpiece and reed setup for that. But like the actual horn itself, I'm gonna need a better model at some point. So yeah, more saxophones. That may seem basic, but I love the saxophone, and as much as I love playing alto, I also want to play the other horns too.
Like I said, he wants to be very, very horny.
Not as horny as Kenny G.
That is true. That is true. Alright, so my first one I have is I want to travel the entire length of Route 66. This one I have mainly because of how much of an impact it has. Every year, my uncle, my grandfather, my sister, and I, with some variation, we will go on this big red carpet corridor every May, where we go from Joliet all the way to, I think this last year it was all the way to Bloomington. Just go to the different towns on Route 66, following the old Route 66 road, and visiting each of the towns. You know, I don't know why, but Route 66 to me it's a really important road. When I was going to and from school, when I was at ISU, I would always try to make sure, instead of taking the interstate, I would instead take back roads all the way until I hit Route 66 and follow that to where I was, you know, and I would, you know, to me it would be amazing if I could start all the way at its first point in Chicago and go all the way to California with it. It would be something that I'd be more than willing to brag about.
Alrighty. So, since you mentioned a place that you want to travel to, I might as well talk about 2 places I really want to go to. So, I've not done the Route 66 thing, like going on old Route 66, but like, that's something I do want to do, but it's not like a thing that I would want to do right away, or even like, I mean, I would rather do it with somebody else.
Right.
But I guess you could say that with a lot of the stuff that I have. Because the thing is that like I've not traveled to every U.S. state, but I've been to most of them. Like I've actually been to Hawaii. Granted, I was 2, but I do remember aspects of being in Hawaii and being in a young age. But I've also been to Indiana, Ohio, and Michigan, and Iowa, and Georgia, Virginia, Florida, Washington, D.C., in Maryland, Kentucky, Tennessee.
Okay, Johnny Cash.
Okay.
You've been everywhere, man.
I'll take that as a compliment.
Yeah, you should. Johnny Cash is a really good person.
Johnny Cash is I'll talk about Johnny Cash more some other time. But here's the thing. I do want to explore more states in the U.S. because, like, you know, I want to go see the Grand Canyon, want to travel on old Route 66. I want to go to Alaska. But there are 2 places outside of the U.S. that I absolutely want to go to for different reasons. So let's talk about the first one. The first place I would want to go to is, well, maybe not the first place, but one place I want to go to is Japan. Because in more recent years, well, growing up, I got exposed to Japanese culture by playing video games. You know, Super Mario Brothers, Pokemon, the Legend of Zelda series, Super Smash Brothers, and other gaming franchises. Through more recent years of picking up more RPGs and, you know, Japanese-inspired games, Sonic is another one I've grown up with. I become more and more fascinated with Japanese culture and even understanding it, to the point where I want to go to Japan. The other reason I want to go to Japan, though, is that it has a fantastic jazz scene over there. Like, there's a lot of influential jazz musicians from Japan. And actually, there are Japanese jazz fusion groups that I listen to, one of those being Dimension. If you don't know who they are, if you know Dolphin Shoals from Mario Kart 8, they play on that track. And also the 2 F-Zero tracks that are mentioned. But they're a very fantastic band. But there's very influential Japanese jazz musicians, influential musicians from Japan, period. I mean, there's stuff like Hiromi, who's a pianist that constantly goes on tours. And then Sakura UK, who I got exposed to recently. He's more electronic music based. Oh, not to mention the fact that some of my favorite composers are from Japan. Yasunori Masuda, Nobuo Uematsu, Koichi Sugiyama, Koji Kondo, like very influential people for me. But one place I absolutely want to go to over Japan, despite, you know, me being fascinated with Japanese culture, it's Ireland. Because throughout my life, I've been exposed to a lot of Irish culture. As I've mentioned in previous episodes where we've talked about Irish ghost stories and how I talked about other aspects of Irish culture, because I love Irish music, I love Irish folk stories, I love Irish movies like Secret of Ronin-ish and Darby O'Gill and the Little People. Like I learned about little, bless you.
Thank you.
Little Irish folk stuff from like my parents or from my grandparents. Like I've learned about like Irish Christmas tales, and my mom and I used to make little leprechaun traps, you know, back when I used to believe that there were leprechauns. And she made a little shillelagh. If you don't know what a shillelagh is, it's basically like a leprechaun king staff that's like a little stick, and it's got ribbons, and it's got two little shackles on it, so that way you go whatcha at leprechauns or horses. But yeah, but also just like I love to go there and experience the culture over there, experience just being in the atmosphere, and to take part in like some of the musical and the folk contributions to it, because it's like I've grown up with it and I absolutely want to experience that.
All right. See, I was thinking about putting something for traveling outside of the U.S. My one thing is technically I've done that. Granted, it was a brief flying over Canada thing, but it's still technically I've done it. So, but I do like that. I would say if I were to go anywhere outside, I would like to go to Norway. So, my second bucket list item, which you briefly mentioned leading up to Japan, and I would like to travel to all 50 states. I think right now, trying to think about the ones I've gone through Illinois for most of my life. It's Illinois, been to Indiana, Ohio, Missouri, Kentucky, Tennessee, I want to say Georgia, Florida, Michigan, Wisconsin, and Alaska recently. I don't think I've been to any other states. So right now I have 11 states, but I would like to at some point travel to all of all 50 states. At first I was debating on not putting this down because it's like, well, you've got Alaska and Hawaii that are outside of like the actual landmass of the United States, but then I've already gone to Alaska, which I feel like is one of the harder ones to get to. So now it's just Hawaii, and then anywhere else I can drive to. Again, just like Route 66 is something that I'd like to say I was able to do. I'd like to say I've gone through all 50 states. I know in the past I've said something like that, but I've said something along the lines of I want to run a 5K in every state, or I want to play a disc golf tournament in every state, which I think both of those have 3 right now. Because I've done a 5K race in Illinois, Kentucky. I actually think I might have only done one in both of those. I've done disc golf tournaments in Illinois, Wisconsin, and Tennessee for now. But I decided to make this more broad and just want to visit all 50 states at least once in my life.
Yeah. Yeah, I would like to travel to 50 states too, like maybe one of these days. I don't have that much of a desire to. I don't know. Like, it would be cool if I were to do like a tour with a band and we travel to like most of the states.
Yeah.
Those are willing to provide a venue for us. On the same boat as with the traveling to different countries and states, there are a few places in particular that I want to travel to. let's talk about jazz clubs and jazz festivals, and I'm kind of grouping them together because they're basically different types of jazz events.
Mm-hmm.
So jazz clubs first. A majority of them are in New York, but the two ones I want to go to are Smalls and the Village Vanguard. So Smalls is like your underground jazz club. They have events, I think, every Wednesday.
Mm-hmm.
And it's basically a band playing as well as a jam session. But it is hardcore. Like, this is not a friendly environment. Because I've been to jam sessions where they're a little bit more lenient with people that are just starting to jam. When you're at Smalls, that's a different story.
Mm-hmm.
You want to jam at Smalls, you gotta know your stuff. Like, really. Because that's where the hardcore players are at. Village Vanguard is different. They play every Monday. In particular, the Village Vanguard Orchestra plays over there, which that was formerly the Thad Jones and Mel Lewis Orchestra, because it features some of those same players from that legacy. In fact, they had a concert recently where their long-lasting member of the group that wants to change it to the Village Vanguard. He was a member of that band for 48 of the 52 years. It's Dick Oates. He's a lead alto player, and he recently had his final performance with the band because, you know, he's getting older. I think he's also been developing Alzheimer's as well. Mm-hmm. But he's a fantastic player, and he will he'll be missed because, you know, he was a big part of that band. In terms of jazz festivals, though, those are different because they are in different countries. But I think the one I really want to go to is Montreux Jazz Festival in Switzerland. That's like one of the big ones. Mm-hmm. And Europe, much like Japan and Switzerland, it has a very great jazz culture over there. There's all sorts of jazz clubs and different club gigs and festivals that take place. But I would want to go see the Montreux Jazz Festival because, like, well, any jazz festival you go to, like the big ones like Newport and I think it's Blue Note or some type of Japan jazz festival that happens. They're all great, but I would want to go see Montreux. So yeah.
But I like that. Mm-hmm. I like that. As of right now, I have kept music, like going to music things out, only because I don't want to say I want to see a specific festival or a specific group.
Yeah.
And then find out that the one year I can go, they no longer have it. Mm-hmm. So, but no, I like that a lot. Mm-hmm. All right, so my next one I have is make a movie.
Yes, you've had many discussions with me.
I have had so many discussions about it. I have a lot of ideas, partially because of how many movies I've seen. But I think it'd be really cool to, at the very least, make one movie. I don't care if it's something that never gets put into theaters. I'd be fine with just releasing it on YouTube. But, I don't know. I just want to put something that I've created in my head out there, or out here, into the world.
Would you have a composer for that movie?
You know, I should. You know, I got a really good friend I know, great composer. You know, do you think our pal
John Williams?
Yeah, I was gonna say a real name, but
that is a real name.
No, you know what I mean. Someone that we actually know.
Okay.
Personally, but no, I like John Williams.
Mm-hmm.
If I can't get John Williams, though, I'd see if you would be available to compose.
Yeah. Well, since we're already talking about like you making a movie, I might as well talk about this. I have a couple of gaming related things on there. first thing I should bring up is I want to be able to play the entire Final Fantasy series because I've only been able to play the entries 4 and 6, but I've not completed those yet. But I want to be able to do it in a chronological order because the more I get into the music and the more I get into like retrospectives about the games, the more I'm just like, I really want to play those games. Even when I know the plots to them. Because I knew the plot of like Final Fantasy VI before I played it, and yet I'm still moved by some of the scenes and the dialogue and the music that's in that game. So yeah, I want to do that. But the main things I want to do involving games is I want to learn to create my own game, and I actually have a concept for a game that I might talk about in a future episode that I've discussed with a friend. But if I can't make my own game, well, whether I make my own game or not, I want to be able to make a soundtrack for a game. Because, like, I am very influenced by video game and movie soundtracks. I'm involved, I get moved, well, I am influenced by all sorts of different types of music. So having a video game soundtrack where I can learn to be more focused about some of the tracks that I create and be like, okay, what's a vision do I have for this entire game that has to connect with each other? Now, that's not to say that you have to stick to a specific genre, because there are composers like Nobuo Uematsu that runs through different types of musical styles and yet is able to connect it to each other. But it still needs to have those connecting threads. So how does it connect with each other? And how does it correlate with scenes and dialogue in the game? And how to time that correctly. So I want to be able to do that. So whether I'm making my own game or I'm composing music for a game, you know, I want to be more involved in the gaming scene because I am still very influenced by the art to this day, even when I'm not an avid gamer.
Right. So I should change this from movie to game. I have absolutely no skill in technology, so that might be out the window.
I mean, I don't have that much skill with technology either. I would definitely have to learn how to program, but I would be willing to learn.
Yep. Alright, so my fourth one I have is run a marathon. So I have ran multiple 5Ks. I ran a couple 10Ks. I have ran 2 official half marathons and 1 unofficial half marathon. And then COVID hit and my running went down. I'd like to build my running up so that I can eventually run a marathon because that was my goal. That has been a bucket list item since 8th grade when I ran my first half marathon. It's the way I view it is this. Anyone can go and sign up for a 5K and run it. It's only 3 miles.
Or walk it.
Same thing with a 10K. Albeit, that's a longer distance. But still, you could either...
It's still doable.
It is doable. Once you hit half marathon and marathon... half marathon and marathon lengths. So 13.1 miles and 26.2 miles. That's when it becomes more of a challenge. I know my last marathon, I was just barely over, half marathon. I was just barely over 2 hours. And again, I was a lot more in shape with that. So, but like I said, I still want to say that I ran a marathon. Just to say I did it once.
Yeah, so the final thing that I wrote on here, and I'm glad that you mentioned a marathon because this is a recent thought that has occurred on my head because I went on a run with one of my colleagues recently, and I think I might attempt to do the half marathon that they do every year at U of I.
Okay.
Well, it's both a marathon and a half marathon and a 10K, but like I would like to do a half marathon. So, as many of you know, well, as he knows too, I'm an avid runner. I run almost every day. Yeah. I work out almost every day. And that has been at least how active I've been with it because I started running since 6th grade. I've been more active with this since freshman year of high school. But as some of you might know, I also have type 1 diabetes. So, because like beforehand, I was wanting to have the goal of running like a half marathon or a marathon, just to, test my endurance. And the most runs that I've done were like 5Ks. And I could most likely do a 10K too, because I can run 6 miles.
Yeah.
But during my first year of college, I got diagnosed with type 1 diabetes. And I get more now, much more easily now because of that. However, there are people who do have type 1 diabetes that are able to do half marathons and marathons. You just have to be a little bit more extensive with it, and have to be more prepared for that than you would a 10K or a 5K.
Yeah.
So I want to do a half marathon, not just to say that I did it, but because I really want to get a feel for it, and because I've not run beyond 6 miles. The thing that makes it tricky, though, besides diabetes, is that it's still a race that you have to train for that.
Yes.
So
although I would say what makes running a half marathon easier is less you think about it as a race and more think about it as a run. Because no matter what, you get a medal for finishing. Because again, it's 13 miles you ran.
Yeah. It's less about racing other people and more running for your life.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
The mafia's coming!
See, just don't use one of the porta potties that is on the course, because your family doesn't let you live that down. Explain that from personal experience.
Yeah, but I want to do a half marathon because I like testing myself. I did Taekwondo. I did those 5-hour black belt tests that were hard as hell. So I don't mind pushing. It's just that with diabetes, it's hard to know how much my endurance will go. And it's a different type of endurance. It's not a physical type of endurance. It's more, well, I guess it is a physical endurance. It's a different type of physical endurance. It is. Yeah. So half marathon. I want to do it. I want to sign up for it. Will I, be the best that no one ever was? Probably.
Okay, so that was your 5th one, right? So I'm going to be honest. I can't think of a 5th one. I'm trying my hardest to think of a 5th one, and things will come up, but then every time it comes up, I think this is something that I've either already achieved or it is easily achievable. Like, I initially thought of, I want to run a disc golf tournament.
You've already done that.
Yeah, exactly.
Twice.
Twice.
Was it twice?
No, I am going to run another one. Right now it's just one.
Okay, so it's going to be twice.
And I'm thinking, okay, well, what about leagues? And it's like, no, because there have been times where I've, ran a couple days of league or started a couple days of league because the people who normally run it aren't available or they're going to be running a little late. So that's out of there. I thought about making a big difference, but I've already done that. Cutting my hair, I've already done that. Playing disc golf on a golf course, I did that last weekend. And I'm going to do that the weekend or next weekend, which is the weekend before you watch this. Like I said, there are a lot of things that I want to put down, but it's either I've already done it or it's something that I can easily achieve. So what I'm going to put down is something that I highly doubt I'm going to achieve. And it's not without a lack of trying.
Mhm.
Because I am sure that I have a good heart, and I'm sure I can find a way to do this. But
He's gonna go to Middle Earth and drop the ring.
no, my precious. No, but I wrote as number 5, change the world. All the major changes I've done have been pretty much exclusive to where I am. I would like to do something that impacts the entire world.
Which world? Dimension 23?
I mean, if I just so happen... Dimension 23?
It's just a number that came to my head.
No. Honestly, if I can find another world, boom, that's changing the world. Found a planet. But no, I would like to change the world. Hopefully for the better. That's my hope. But yep, number 5. And change the world. Like I said, it's something that I don't think I will be able to accomplish. It's something I feel like we should all strive for.
Mm-hmm.
But overall, I think we made a pretty good set of bucket list items.
Yeah, definitely.
And definitely made it exclusive to us. I specifically made sure I didn't put skydiving on, because fear heights.
You could get your pilot license again.
Yeah. But that is all for this week. Now, for us, we'll see you in 2 weeks. For you guys, you'll just see us in 1 week.
Yep.
And then that's Jake's topic. So with that, we'll see you then. I'm Xavier Dean.
And I'm Jacob Green.
We'll see you in the next video. Have a wonderful weekend.